So, it's been a year now since I started making sourdough bread. My family, they absolutely love it. I make around 9 loaves of bread a week. I sell a few to neighbors who can't get enough of the beautiful crust and chewy crumb. It's become more than just baking. It's become a rhythm, a practice, and a joy. Now, I'm on holiday with my grandkids in Thailand, and I've decided to bake bread for them too while I'm here. So, 2 days ago, actually 3 or 4, I started a brand new sourdough starter from scratch. And to my absolute shock, it rose to almost 3 times its size in just 2 days. It fermented beautifully and came alive so quickly. I couldn't believe it. I remembered that the first time I made a sourdough starter back in South Africa, it took me 3 attempts. Honestly, I almost gave up. It took about 14 days to get it right. I kept questioning whether I was doing it wrong. So, to this one takeoff in just 2 days was both shocking and exciting. I made 2 bottles just in case one broke or goes moldy or something goes wrong. But as I was making them, I thought, life isn't like this. In life, we don't get 2 bottles. We don't get to rewind and start over as though nothing happened. When we make mistakes, we can't just throw it out and start fresh with no cost. There are consequences, and healing is a process. We don't have 2 lives, only one. And yet, just like sourdough, God can take what's broken, what seems ruined, and breathe life into it again. It won't happen overnight. Healing, restoration, and growth, they all take time, but they are possible, especially when we keep nurturing the healing process. We don't have 2 lives and only one. That made me reflect on spiritual growth. Like sourdough, it doesn't happen all at once. It needs to be fed daily. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, nothing is changing, and then suddenly I'll see signs of life, of faith rising up in you. And I thought, this is starter. This could be my legacy, just like the ones that have been passed down for generations. Some sourdough starters are over 100 years old. I want to pass this down to my kids and my grandkids and even my great grandkids if the Lord tarries. One day they will say, "This is Nana Nisha's sourdough starter. It's been in our family for years and years and years." Let me share a Bible story that ties beautifully with my sourdough starter. In John chapter 6, there's a story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. All they had were 5 small loaves and 2 fish, and a great crowd with hungry bellies. In John chapter 6, there's a story of Jesus feeding 5,000. All they had were 5 small fish, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and a great crowd with hungry bellies. But Jesus gave thanks. He broke the bread and it multiplied. He fed everyone, and there were baskets left over. Now here's what struck me. Jesus used what they had. It seemed small, even insignificant, but when blessed and broken in the hands of Jesus, it becomes more than enough. The same is true with our lives. You might think what you have, your time, your skills, your faith, is too small, but put in the hands of Jesus, it can bless generations. And another story that comes to mind is the one about Elijah and the widow at Zarephath in the book of Kings. She had just a handful of flour and a little bit of oil, enough for one last meal for herself and her son. But when she obeyed God and made bread for Elijah first, the jar of flour never emptied, and all the oil never ran dry. Day after day, there was enough. The story reminds me that even when we feel we're doing nothing or we're down to nothing, God can sustain us, even multiply what's left, if we trust Him with it. So yes, I made 2 jars of starter just in case. But real life isn't like that. We don't have a spare life to get it right the second time. We carry scars, we live with consequences, but we also live with grace. That's the kind of spiritual legacy I want to leave behind. Just like sourdough, our spiritual lives must be tended, to be fed and kept alive. God doesn't throw us away when we fail. He stays with us. He feeds us. He gives us new life. Now, if you ever wanted to try baking sourdough bread, can I just say it's easier than you think it is. It's such a beautiful journey. I would love to help you start your own starter and learn how to bake your first loaf of bread. Honestly, it is simple and so rewarding. Here's how you do it. Once your sourdough is active and bubbly, you can take half of it and use it to bake your bread. The remainder of the starter can be kept in the fridge until your next bake. When you're ready to bake again, take the starter out of the fridge, feed it with fresh flour and water, and allow it to grow and bubble again. Then once it's active, you use half to bake and put the rest back in the fridge. And the cycle continues. This process, it's not just practical, it's symbolic. It reminds us that what we feed grows, and what we preserve can bless us over and over and over again. That's how legacies are built, not in one big act, but through small, faithful steps repeated with love. Drop me a message in the comment sections below if you want to learn. I'll gladly walk you through the process. You'll be surprised at how much of joy and peace this practice can bring. Not to mention the delicious smell of fresh bread filling your home. And one day, maybe just one day, your grandkids will say, "This was a starter my Nana made, and I now bake with it too." Thank you, and bye-bye. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.